And welcome to the Bourbon Buddies. I'm James.
And I'm BJ. Welcome back to your weekly booze, news, and reviews. And happy Bourbon Heritage Month to you, Jimmy.
So happy Bourbon Heritage Month to you as well, BJ. So what does that mean? What is Bourbon Heritage?
Happy Bourbon Heritage Month to all of you. Why, it's Bourbon Heritage Month, Jimmy. And that means it's September. Thanks to the U.S. Senate in 2007, we were designating September as Bourbon Heritage Month, the month that celebrates the U.S. spirit, and not just the American spirit. No, I'm talking about the spirit made right here in America. Bourbon.
I like this accent. So it looks like, on August 2nd, 2007, the U.S. Senate declared September 2007 as National Bourbon Heritage Month. The bill, sponsored by Republican Senator Jim Bunning of Kentucky, passed by unanimous consent.
Not a single bipartisan dissension.
The resolution calls for consumers who enjoy bourbon to do so responsibly and in moderation. It reinforces the 1964 concurrent resolution of Congress that recognized bourbon whiskey as a distinctive product of the United States. It is Americans' native spirit during the month of December. September. Jeez.
Correct.
It says it was only a resolution, however, for 1 year. It needs to be passed again each year or any permanent form to be officially observed. To celebrate America's native spirit and National Bourbon Heritage Month, the city of Bardstown, Kentucky, has hosted the Kentucky Bourbon Festival every September since 1991. The festival is dedicated to the history and art of distilling bourbon whiskey.
Well, thank you, Republican Senator Jim Bunning.
Bunning.
And thank you,
Mr. Bunning.
Bardstown since 1991.
What do we got here? What is this?
And thank you, Drew.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to
friend of the show.
Shout out to friend of the show.
Because take a look at what we're drinking tonight to celebrate Bourbon Heritage Month and to top off this vertical of Knob Creek, the Knob Creek ever elusive 18-year.
Yeah, so we were incorrect last show because we talked about the 15 being the top of the line from Knob Creek. Well, we'll be the judge of what's top of the line. But apparently they do make an older age statement. Released annually.
Yes, annually.
Annually right now. This comes in from what I've seen at around $169 to $199.
This is, of course, like its brothers and sisters before it, 100 proof or 50% alcohol by volume. And this particular bottle is also very special, just like the Knob 15 that we opened last week, which was the initial inaugural bottle of the 15. This bottle is honoring the 30th anniversary of Knob Creek. This is the 18-year release number KC001, honoring the 30th anniversary of Knob Creek, released in 2022.
And it says, this limit from the Knob Creek website, this limited edition celebrates the time, effort, and commitment to our never-ending pursuit of craft. Aged twice as long as our flagship, bourbon, Knob Creek 18-year owes its rich copper color and deep notes of caramelized oak and its extensive aging in our Kentucky rack houses. Shouldn't it be rick houses?
Rick houses.
Is that a spelling mistake? Rack City? Rack houses? Crack houses. Color, rich per Knob Creek. Color, rich copper tones with amber hues.
What do you think? Rich copper tones?
Sure.
Amber hues?
I mean, you could really say that about anything.
Amber waves of
any
grain?
Whiskey. The taste should be full-bodied with notes of caramelized oak and hints of sweet vanilla and baking spice. The aroma, brown sugar, aged oak with notes of char and caramel.
Those are kind of generic.
Very generic. And continuing down my Knob Creek needs to put more information on their website. Like, it's just so blah and kind of generic.
I'd like to I'd like to again just thank our viewer
Yeah.
and friend Drew. Appreciate this very
Yeah, I mean,
kind
we're
offer.
gonna have him come pick this bottle up because we're not keeping it. So this is gonna go
Can't keep
back to
this.
him.
Very
We're not keeping this
generous.
one. Yeah, it's on loaner. It's on retainer from the man himself, and we will enjoy it here on the show tonight, and then make sure he gets it back.
This is a
So-
very unique and interesting nose.
And I'm curious to see what a 3-year difference makes from the 15.
Older's not always better. You say this a lot.
Yeah.
I agree with
Cheers.
this a lot. Older is not always better. And we'll talk Barrel Lamaze here momentarily.
Huh. As you all know, this is a Jim Beam product.
But doesn't it drink like a Brown Foreman product?
This one, yeah, with its age statement. Oh boy.
Remember, it's not everything in here this is not a barrel proof, right? This is still a blended bourbon whiskey. That means that the youngest juice in this particular blend is 18 years. There could be older,
Potentially.
right? There could be older.
Yeah, there could be.
But nothing less than 18 years aged juice in this. I make the Brown Foreman comment because on the nose, I got a lot of peanut. Very nutty.
Really?
Yep, I get a lot of roasted nut.
I do get a little bit on the nose. Yeah.
And I get a lot of roasted nut on the flavor palette. Very full bodied. The ethanol is got quite the kick. It definitely stands up for being 50%. We had the 12 before we started tonight, just to kind of wet the whistle.
Yeah.
The 12 drinks a lot easier than this. This has very pronounced flavor.
I don't know about this one. I mean, and it's not good nor bad. I'm still trying to figure it out. There's a lot going on. Yeah, just let me keep going. Let me keep going here.
So I said I'd get into the Barrel Lamaze. For those of you that are new to the show or who have been watching for a while and we just haven't talked about it for a little bit, barrel aging, right? You leave this to sit in a barrel, and as we get warm, that barrel expands and allows the juice inside that barrel to get into all the nooks and crannies of the staves of the barrel, the individual planks of the barrel, right? And that also allows for water to evaporate out of that barrel and for the juice inside to get more concentrated. And then as that barrel cools down in the evenings or during the cooler months, that barrel contracts and it squeezes the juice out of the barrel staves back into the center of the barrel where it's lying in rest. And it's pushing all of those flavors of the oak, of that charred sugary sweetness back into the juice, and it's reconcentrating. And so it does this, right? The barrel is literally breathing, sucking it in, concentrating, evaporating off, and pushing it back in over a period of years, over a period of 18 or more years in this case. And it's also losing, right? So you're losing and you're contracting. You probably lost half of a barrel's like liquid life.
Angel share,
right? So the angel share goes up, the devil's cut stays within those staves, and what you're left with is what we get. So that's the Barrel Lamaze process. I get, interestingly enough, that weird Knob Creek flavor that I'm not always a big fan of is there. It's that barrel char, not in a great way.
There you go. So here's why. Yes.
It's living in the back end as a core flavor profile.
Yes. So it's deceiving. That's my answer to this bottle. And I'll tell you why. Because on the nose, I get like butterscotch and a lot of sweetness, a tiny hint of that nuttiness. It might be just like a rich umami that I get on that nose that maybe is that nuttiness. In the flavor, I get that nuttiness, but it's way on the back end, and it's nothing but oak. It is a giant oak tannic bomb, in my
A
opinion.
lot of tannin.
I think that there is a dry oak. There's a
Yeah.
lot of complexity to it, but it's oak, and oak. Uncle P, good evening to you too, sir.
Hello, Uncle P.
I watched a quick documentary on Shady Maple the other day on YouTube, and I got to see how they
Regale us.
So apparently, the fried chicken is supposed to be one of their big items.
Okay.
The meatloaf, and
Mhm.
the there was one other item that was really big there.
For those of you that don't know, Shady Maple is a smorgasbord in
Pennsylvania.
southeastern Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it's like a Amish buffet, but it's massive. It's like a Costco from what.
It's the United States' largest buffet.
And then like I guess like liver and onions or something is like one of their other
Ooh.
big things that they're known for. And I'm like,
Probably
"Oof."
delicious.
Sure, but I could go down on some of that fried chicken, like go to town on that. Anyway, we digress. Uncle P verifies it is also good chicken. So there you have it.
Ain't nothing wrong with some fried chicken.
So guys, you know me and oak, right? I mean, I'm the biggest like, no, I don't want it. It's oak. It goes back to being that older doesn't always mean better. So whenever you see these old age statements on bottles, I'm going to tell you right now that I think I prefer the 15 over this one.
I'm going to make a statement.
Okay.
That I think is going to fully represent what we have in front of us.
Okay.
Which is a bell curve.
Oh, the good old bell curve.
You know, where it's not always good. It starts shallow, it peaks, and then as you keep going, it kind of falls off and gets back here.
Yeah, man.
And I think that here's what I would do. I would put regular knob, the knob 9, and it really peaks at 12.
The 12 and the 15, I think.
And then
yeah,
I think the 15
it peaks at 12, and then it starts going down in the bell in the 15.
The 18. I'm not going to say I would drink this 18 over drinking the 9.
Yes, I agree.
This 18 over the 7.
I would agree.
I would drink this 18 over the rye. I would drink this 18 over the barrel pick or the barrel. Yeah, I mean the single barrel.
Yeah.
So I guess it's about more of a hyperbole. A hyperbola. But yeah, I agree with you. Older is not better in this case. And it's funny because we had talked to Drew about this, and Drew said something similar. He said
yes,
he liked the 15 better.
Yes,
as well.
Yeah.
Not to call you out there, Drew, but I'm going to call you out there.
Yeah.
I was afraid that I was going to peak with liking the 12-year the best. I don't hate this by any means, but it definitely is not my favorite out of our 3 older age statements here.
And like, it's very, like I mentioned, like I said, tannic, tanny, oak tannins, biff tannins. And it's tough to get past that to enjoy the other good flavors that this whiskey I know is there, but the oak is just such a punch to the face up front that even at 100 proof, which is kind of like, oof, I find it challenging. I don't want to sit here and drink a glass.
That's going to be the thumbnail title.
What's
for
that?
Tonight's show?
What's that?
Tannic Panic.
Tannic Panic. I would definitely. I am in a tannic panic tonight because
the tannic.
Do you think you could sit here and enjoy one full glass? Like if you had a full pour? Like I think
I gave us a pretty full pour.
We did get some full pours here.
I gave a pretty full pour here.
And I'm having a hard time. I mean, I'll finish it.
I was saying,
obviously,
we're not pouring this away.
Yeah,
we're gonna finish this. That said, I'm gonna go into what would I do to make this better. I would not put a cube in this.
A lot of nuttiness. No way.
I would not add water. This would bring out all of those things that we don't like about it. I would put this in a cocktail. I think this would make a pretty high-end cocktail. I'm thinking
what
good
kind?
Manhattan.
Yeah.
I would agree. I think a good Manhattan this would make.
So you bring up a good point because I think
a little sweetness, right? There's no sweetness in this. On the palate, there's no sweetness, right?
Like anything, it deceives you. because on the nose
sugar
it's
even?
sweet, brown sugar.
It's very sweet.
You think some of that's going to translate over to the taste,
but in the palate, there's no sugar. There's no sweetness whatsoever.
right?
So I think adding some sweet vermouth to this, I think would help.
Manhattan, I mean, even old fashioned, you know, and even whiskey sour, just something to sweeten
a
it
whiskey
up.
sour.
Yeah.
I think a whiskey sour would be
Yeah.
good with this.
And I know you're like, oh man, am I gonna make a cocktail of this old bourbon?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not drinking this.
Because after you spend, how much did you say this bottle would go for?
So it's like anywhere from 150 to 200. It kind of fluctuates. It's like
Oh, yeah. What are you gonna do?
159.99.
You buy this,
to
it
200
doesn't meet your
bucks.
flavor profile standards. What are you gonna do?
You can't
You're gonna
return
li-
it.
You're gonna live with that and just
Exactly.
look at it like a pin in the eye.
Yeah, and you don't want to give it to your friends either because they're gonna be like, oh yeah, let's try that Knob Creek 15 or 18.
I really didn't like it. Okay, we're gonna make the best out of this, and I think the best that you can do with this is, you're gonna make a little sweet cocktail. To your point, I think a whiskey sour would be an excellent.
Thomas, cheers.
this.
He says the 12 year is just about right. We totally agree with you.
I think the 12-year is,
Yeah.
for me, it's the peak out of the older age statements here.
That bell curve reference you made earlier, I think was spot on.
Yeah,
I think the Knob Creek
Yeah.
definitely bell curves. The 15, where it's decent, I wasn't like beyond amazed.
No,
but
I think we landed somewhere in the 75. I think we both gave
yes,
75, 7.5 out of 10.
Yes.
I'm not certain where I'm going to land here in the.
See that
18.
the bottle. Let me see that bottle if you don't mind. I just wanna
Not
see.
sure
Is,
where I'm
is
gonna
this
land.
100 proof?
It is. All of the knobs are landing at 100 proof, 50% alcohol by volume.
100 proof, full bodied. I think that's really a stretch when they say
Very
full
bodied. Yeah.
Actually, that looks terrible. Let's do one of these, just so some people can take a look. At the
Very
bottle
full
front and
bodied.
center.
Yeah. Full body. And when we're talking full bodied, we're talking like, so for your wine drinkers, right? You know what a full bodied means. You're drinking a cab, right? Really coats the mouth with flavor. You're getting back into the back of the mouth. You're really coating the mouth with the profile of the beverage, of the spirit. I think if we were to quickly roll it around the glass and hold it sideways to view what we would refer to as the legs, they run really tight together.
Oh yeah, for
like a
sure.
lightning storm.
So it exhibits
oily.
all of that older aged whiskey product. But again, guys, it goes back to, with whiskey, it's not Scotch. It's not an Armagnac. Older doesn't mean better. Like, it's just not it's not an Irish whiskey. Like, this is something that barrel char hits a point where you're getting a ton of barrel char as the bottle gets older.
Here's what I want you to do.
What
That was an interesting thing. So
what'd you do?
I just gave it a lot of air. I want you to really give it a lot of air.
Really aerate it.
Give it a lot of air.
Got one last pour here.
Give it a ton of air. And really get into that.
News about whiskey. Welcome to the show. Says KC12 is the best KC for the money. That's the thing. I mean, as we said it
It's
before,
validation
I mean,
right
on
there.
the bell curve, I think this bell curve reference is exactly what Knob Creek's about. Like, you hit the peak at the 12, then it's the 15, and then, man, it really falls from there down to this 18.
Okay, you didn't take a sip.
I
You
didn't.
I'm really aerate that. I feel like we need to like really whisk it.
So I get some.
Really do need to aerate it.
do like, what is it? The I forgot what they do it with, the aeration.
Yeah.
With the
where they take the whisk.
Stupid whisk.
We might need to do this.
Hyper decant. Hyper decant is what they call it.
We may need to hyper decant this because, again, really swirl it. Really.
I think Connor Roy from Succession coined that term. You don't hyper decant?
You really need to get some air into that, because there's something interesting that happens when you do that.
You basically take a latte frother and put it to your whiskey, and it hyper decants.
It's an interesting thing that I think happened to the flavor profile.
Oh,
do you notice that?
A lot more caramel sweetness, even a little coffee, maybe.
Coffee, exactly.
Yeah.
I got a lot of coffee character out of that by just giving it a lot of air,
Yeah.
really swirling it around.
It helps, but I don't know that it does help, but it doesn't change my opinion. Really.
I guess the question is, should you have to really work that hard to pull out that flavor?
No, that's the thing, right? Like, you shouldn't have to work that hard. You shouldn't have to, like,
sitting in the bar, they're like really shaking your glass.
Guys, this is how you really.
Hey, don't shake it so hard. It looks like you're playing with it.
It's like you need one of those brandy, one of the giant brandy glasses, and you're just like swirling it around. Yeah.
Scores. You want to get into some scores?
Yeah, I guess
Let's
we
get
can
into
get
some
into
scores.
scores on this one. So as you guys know on the show, we rated a 3 category
Three-tier
rating system. And that would be nose, taste, and value.
You nailed it.
So typically we give a 0 to 3 out of each of those categories, a potential blown away bonus of up to 1 extra point,
Brings us
which
to that
gives
perfect
you
10.
to that perfect 10, and then we usually add a 0 and make it out of 100.
So that you jamokes can totally understand what we're talking about.
Yeah. So news about whiskey is also saying for some whiskeys, he likes to tilt the glass, let his hand warm it a bit. It's kind of like cognac, a little bit. Armagnac. He said he finds that it helps bring a little bit more flavor out too. So
I like that. I like especially, this is a good wine tasting trick. I'm going to give you that one too. Is when you move it around, cup the glass, blow into it, and hold the warm air.
Yeah, you'll get a little extra note on the nose.
You're able to pull a little bit more out of the nose, and then
you get a little like you add some like extra humidity to that, so you get a little more evaporation potentially.
See how that out of that, I just pulled a little salinity out of the nose, like a little salty air. But it doesn't translate to the palate at all.
Thomas is right. It says the 15 and the 18 are a lot of money. I'm with you, man, especially for Knob Creek, because here where I think Jim Beam has deceived us, because these guys,
James B. Beam,
Jimmy Beam, they had the 12-year, I think, at one point for like $60 a couple years ago.
I
don't know if that was pre-COVID.
That's a value.
And then everything jumped up, and now everything is so asinine, ridiculously priced. As you guys know, we typically say that the average is about $10 per year of aged whiskey product, Scotch product, any type of whiskey. You're looking at about 10 is a fair price you should be paying. The 18 sits around 150 to 200. I would not pay $200 for this under any circumstance.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem.
Even the 150, we'll get to that when we get to value. The 15 is even tough to swallow at 150 to, I think it's around the same, 150 to 200.
It lives within our pricing measurement standard, but I don't think that we gave it great scores and value. No. I think we landed around the 2s.
I think the 12 is again your sweet spot where you can pick this bottle up for what, 75? I think I saw it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Safi, what's going on?
Hey,
good to see
you. Barrel bestie right there.
Thomas says he saw an Elijah Craig 18-year in Michigan, mid-Michigan for $268.
Oh,
a little steep. They're out here in Vegas for $199.
I say $180.
If you want to put it on the West Coast pricing comparison, I think with EC18, they're more readily available. Just everything whiskey is more readily available nowadays since we're kind of over the hump with the bourbon craze. A lot of people have moved on to tequila, and
let them have it.
Let them have it.
Enjoy the Casamigos.
Enjoy that Fortaleza. And the mezcal.
Fortaleza.
Like, I'm not sitting there on my back porch smoking a cigar, drinking a tequila. I'll tell you that much. So I know some people are, and they want to argue with me on that. Scores. What did you pour here?
Hear your scores.
All right, yeah, because I don't want to get into something better when I still have the bad taste in my mouth over this 18.
Give me your scores.
All right, so nose, taste, and value. The problem with the nose and the taste is that they deceive you because the nose is nothing like the taste. So it makes me want to rate the nose less.
Really?
Yes.
Keep it independent.
But I'm gonna give it a 2.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna give it a 2 on the nose because I thought the nose, even though it tricked me, had like a sweetness where I'm like, oh, this could be very close to the 12. I was hoping it was the 12 taste, maybe just a little bit more complexity and depth, and it had maybe a bit more viscosity, creaminess, and it was just had a lot more going on.
Yep.
And far from it. So I'm gonna give it a 2. Because I enjoyed the nose. Like I said, caramel, creme brulee. It had that like classic bourbon. Like, okay, I'm going to like this. This is going to be just like the 12 or the 15.
Sure.
No. But it gets a 2. I'm going to give it a 2.
Okay.
Taste from me. is going to get a 1.5.
All right.
I'm going to give it a 1.5 because you guys know me. I'm not an oak. I'm not a Biff Tannins.
Nope, not your style.
I don't like oak. And this is so beyond over oaked. Like, I don't know what they're really thinking when they blend these. Like, you were saying they don't add anything younger than 18-year juice in it.
True.
I don't know if adding anything older helps it. I think you almost need to.
If they could, younger juice might have helped.
Yes, if they could maybe throw some 12 in there to sweeten it up, or even 9. Like, which one is sweeter? Add that
again.
It would help.
I think some cooperage change-ups might help them here, and this is where
or maybe less of a barrel char.
Well, and I think that this is where I make some arguments for French oak. I think French oak and some Spanish oak goes a long way when we start talking about some older age staples.
Agreed. Uncle P doesn't like oak either, so you're gonna be right with me with this rating. So then we get so that's 2, 1.5. We're not having good luck
3.5. So where you at?
Value. Jeez, value gets a 1. Like
1. Okay.
I don't think this really has any value. I'm not going out there and spending $150 to $200 on this bottle. That there's so much, like, everybody right now is looking for the best bang for their buck, in my opinion, in today's economy, and prices are through the roof. There's so many non-distilling producers trying to shill their juice all over the place. That's just like 6-year MGP or 6-year Bardstown or 6-year Tennessee whiskey. I know that, but I'm just using it as like a reference point where, like,
for our viewers, right?
prices are going up across the board, where here's what happens. All of the players raised their prices.
Yep.
The NDPs were where you're supposedly defined value. You don't anymore. And they push 6-year products and NDPs that are for like $100 a bottle.
Regrettable.
So what does that mean?
Yes.
That means the big players like the Jim Beams, the Knob Creeks, James Beams, whatever, they're all the same. You know, the Brown Formans, the Heaven Hills, the Diageos. They're like, you know what, guys? Raise the prices because they're all paying it. You like them sloppy? Like, they're all paying it. That was like the lunch lady voice. You're freaking us out, lady. You're freaking us out, lady. They're all paying it. So you might as well keep raising the prices until they stop paying it. And I think we're at this tipping point in the market. I'm going to tell you guys, I see tons of stuff on the shelf. Tons of stuff.
We're getting back to seeing some shelfies.
We are seeing shelfies.
There's a term
we're
we haven't
seeing
used on this show in a
dusties.
minute.
I haven't seen dusties and whiskey. Shelfies and dusties. I'm baffled. And it's going to, I think you're going to see during the holiday months this year, during Christmas time, and you know, in that November, December, Thanksgiving to Christmas, you're going to see a lot, I think, of huge sales, huge discounts.
Oh yeah, because watch your Costco's, watch your Sam's.
Not only that, but I think your mom and pop shops, they wanted to jump on the bandwagon. They took the advice of that wholesaler, that third-party tier system that said, "Hey, yeah, you guys got to get this. See,
how's those bundles?
Yeah,
how's those bundles?
Gotta get this
and
bundle it. See, because listen, I'm gonna get you that 1 bottle of Pappy. Oh, I'm gonna get you that 1 bottle of Pappy this December after you sell 1,000 Fireballs and 1,000 Wheatley vodkas, and you're gonna be able to sell this Pappy for $1,000. No, you're not this year.
It's gonna be worth it.
Nobody's buying it. Nobody's buying it, guys. You're not buying it. We're not buying it. I'm not buying it. My friends aren't buying it. Jimmy, all the groups I know aren't buying it.
I love Wheatley vodka. It's so delicious.
I'm just telling you.
I think that I gotta tell you a fun story real quick before I so hold on. So you gave it a 1, a 1.5, and a 2.
Value. I thought I gave it a 1 on the value.
Yeah, you gave it a 2 on the nose.
2 on the nose, a 1.5. So that's maybe 3.5, and then a 1 on the value.
Which gives it a 4.5.
That's a 4.5
out of 10.
I'm not blown away.
So
I'm throwing the 45. I'm throwing a 45 out of 100 on the Knob Creek 18.
Woo.
45 out of 100. I think that's probably one of my lowest scores to date.
It's a low one.
I'm in a mood. There's chat I got to get to, but you get to your score.
I just want
we'll circle back.
No, I want to tell
chat.
you a story. Then we'll do chat, and then we'll get to my score.
What do you got?
A friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours.
Okay.
We were out drinking, and it was so funny because she's like, "I'll take a shot of vodka," and then she turns to me and she goes, "What the hell is Wheatley vodka?" And I was like, "Don't get Wheatley vodka. No, screw them. Don't buy that crap." All right, what do you got? What do you got in the chat?
It was amazing.
Better. It it was amazing that they had Wheatley vodka on the
That's true.
in the back of the bar.
They're already getting a lot of
And I
Buffalo
was like,
Trace
"Whoa,
this year.
I'm really shilling for that Buffalo Trace.
This is way better.
I know.
So Knob Creek, this is your money, guys. Your
That's the
12 here
12.
at 60 to 70 a bottle is your guys' sweet spot right now.
The magical
Pump this
number.
out. You want to know what I would do? Is it 100 proof or 120?
100 proof.
I'd maybe bump it up, make it a little like pull one out at 120.
What if you wait? So we wouldn't do a. That's where we would call it a barrel proof.
Mm-hmm.
A barrel proof, same proof.
Do a
that it
barrel
entered
proof
the
Knob
barrel.
Creek. Free advice. No consultant fee necessary.
Throw us a bottle. Just a bottle.
Just throw us a bottle of it.
when you do
or
it.
like a case. I'm sure you can spare a case, James B. Beam.
We're not greedy. A
We're in
bottle
come
each.
on, a case is easy to ship. They don't have to repackage it. It's just a case.
That's
boom.
fair.
A 12-year barrel proof, I think, is a wonderful idea.
That's a good idea.
Because think about it, they do the single barrel selects with the 9 years.
I think it's a good idea.
So why don't you just do it to 12 years? And trust me, James Beam has been around for a while. Even Knob Creek in the 90s, they have enough stock sitting around
They get some stuff.
where I'm sure they'll be good to go.
All right, get to that.
Get to the chat. Uncle P, well, we already went over that. He doesn't like oak as well.
Okay.
Bullish Brown, welcome, man. It's been a while. I haven't
It's been
seen you in a
minute.
while.
Hey, Bullish.
And he said he quit because of the high prices. I'm telling you, man, it's a problem right now.
Speak with your
People
wallet.
speak with their wallets, and I think, I would say that I know a pretty large majority. My circle of friends range anywhere from like low, like kind of like your fast food workers. Like I have like a kind of this is kind of weird, but like I know like a fast food workers group tier. They're younger kids, don't get me wrong, but they're super into whiskey and tequila. And they all tell me, like, I'm in this chat group, they're not buying anything. None of them. They're not buying anything. They're priced out of whiskey. They've been priced out of tequila.
Sucks.
Right now, they're drinking like canned cocktails because that's really all they can afford.
Mhm. There's some good ones out there,
and it's
though.
kind of like the market has pushed them into that because they can't even go get think about this. Total Wine, a giant, massive corporation liquor store around the United States, is selling Elijah Craig barrel proof for guess how much this year?
$90.
$169.99.
I'm sorry. Elijah Craig barrel proof has jumped $100.
At Total Wine to $169.99.
Is that a store pick?
It is not a store pick. It's like the A120 whatever, 124.
Get out of here.
I'm not getting out. I'm telling you. All right. Thomas says won't pay a nickel for any MGP sourced brands. Just me. I'm with you, brother. I'm telling you,
Thomas, you're right.
I'm telling you, man. Like
it used to be worth paying.
Used to be worth paying for it, and the
Not
NDPs
anymore.
at a certain point, like before MGP caught on, and I think Smoke Wagon was the last one to get away with this. MGP was more than gracious in getting rid of their older stock juice.
Sharing it, selling it.
Aaron at Smoke Wagon, shout out, you're amazing. Aaron at Smoke Wagon at one point, he cleaned up. He picked up a bunch of old, like 9-year.
He was like Southwest, picking up on all that.
Oh yeah, he jumped.
All that
He jumped on that bandwagon as it was like he jumped on that rocket ship before whiskey was going to take off.
It was a good
and
move.
he just sourced. He just went to MGP and he was like, just give it to me all. He got 9-year, 13-year, so much amazing MGP juice. Then MGP was like, whoa, stop the press here.
Wait, what do we have?
What-
We got something good?
What are these NDPs are getting all these awards?
selling
and
it.
Stop selling it
We need to
immediately.
figure out how to bottle it.
And then they're like, wait a minute. George Remus, we need a new brand to come up out of nowhere. And all the old stocks are going to Remus and we're capitalizing it.
Remus Reserve.
And we're not going to give it to anybody else. And then what happens a few years later? Smoke Wagon goes back. Hey, can I get some more of that? And GP's like, here, you can have some 6-year rise, some 9-year rise. Meh.
Rye blends.
Rye blends, pre-blended. What does that even mean? Who knows?
Means
Take
not
it and
great.
figure it out. Yeah, take it and figure it out. Apologies, I'm having some like technical difficulties here.
What else you got there in the chat?
And so see,
Wow.
I know, right? Can't even keep the mic
I
straight
remember
here.
the first night I used the microphone.
Bulge says I buy great or nothing. Absolutely. There you go. News about whiskey says he lives in PA and it's a liquor controlled state. They're seeing so much more Buffalo Trace products here in the last 2 to 3 months.
Great.
The bubble is popping. My friend, the bubble has popped. I think
that's why you're starting to see it.
definitely. That's why you're starting to see it. That was the last big comment here, but I think we have definitely whiskey has popped. I can guarantee this because I think I am pretty good with keeping my ear to the ground in secondary sales groups. Like I follow a lot of like razzles and duck races. And, if you guys are on Facebook, it's all this like behind the scenes trading and selling and people that like thought they could pay for their kids' college, education by flipping whiskey secondary.
All for
They're
like
all
2
hurting.
months.
They're all hurting. Like I have friends that can't even unload bottles at like retail. Like it's crazy.
Bourbon
It
coin.
really.
I did all the bourbon coin bourbon flipping. Why didn't it work?
I bought a bunch of bourbon NFTs and now they're worth nothing. You're like, well, I don't know what to tell you.
All right, I'm gonna
You
get to
bought a
my
picture.
score.
So please, apologies. We've digressed again.
I know,
and
right?
You can go to your scoring here.
Our fans are where our love is. So,
Yes.
all right, nose. I liked the peanutty weird sweetness on the nose. I thought it was good, not amazing, but I'm gonna give it a 2. It was good. But
Did you?
right.
Is that all you got though? Because I'm saying, I got a lot of creme brulee and like that sweetness.
I just got a lot of nuttiness.
Okay.
A lot of
Interesting.
nuttiness.
Interesting. Okay.
Not a lot. So I'm gonna give it. I mean, it was
Did it
good.
deceive you as well?
It was deceiving. So there was some nice sweet peanut, right?
Yeah.
A little honey roasted even, and then you get into the flavor profile, which still had some nut, like some nice roasted nuttiness, but no sweetness. A very big back end, and then that big core Knob Creek character just bursts through the door.
Yeah.
That's the thing I don't like, and so that takes it down to a 1. Not my favorite, but yeah, I'm going to take it to a 1.5 because I think that I could sit here and continue to drink it. Would I go back for a second pour? Probably not. But on a rank of 0 to 3, I'd put it right in the middle, 1.5. Value, I'd give it a 1, which puts me right at 4.5. Was I blown away? No, I wasn't.
Wow, do we have a tie score here?
I'm going to give you the tie score.
Is this our lowest rated bottle of 2024?
No, I don't think so. I believe I gave a 15. I think I gave 1.5 this year.
We're gonna have to go back,
and we're gonna pull some scores. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 10.
Wow.
I'm not sad I drank it. Again, I drink this over several of their offerings out here on the table.
Yeah.
I'd give that Stolen Barrel a 0. I would give the 9 a 1. I mean, I drink this over many other things. But I'd also drink lots of other things over this. When I think about this 18 year,
yeah,
I think EC18 is far superior. Personally,
absolutely, barrel proof and 18 Elijah Craig 18 is light years better than
far
this.
superior, right? I think that there are some 13 and 11 years that are far superior.
I would take. This is another bold statement because I hate mellow corn. I would take Heaven Hill 17 over this.
Wow.
Yeah. I know. We got really sawing logs over there.
Somebody's sawing log in the live studio.
On the live studio. We have a guest off to the side that is sawing logs on the show. That's so great.
Oh,
well, then we're gonna wrap that up. I think that's our cue then.
Well, I do have one piece of
what do you got?
News.
We got some bourbon. We got some bourbon news.
A little
news.
bourbon news.
What do you got in the whiskey world news for
so this was an interesting thing that I brought up. So this came out yesterday.
Can I? Okay, no,
off of Tasting Table.
Oh, Tasting Table. What do you got?
This is James Hastings.
Yeah,
he released this yesterday at 9:15 a.m. Eastern. And what he wrote was an article about the 12 bourbon alternatives to Pappy Van Winkle, according to a bartender. There's some interesting picks here.
This is a joke.
Number one, I find it interesting that in this article he wrote, he doesn't talk about which Pappy Van Winkle that he would compare these to.
Here's the thing, though. If he's saying Pappy Van Winkle, that's not Old Rip 10. Unless he's just calling Pappy and he doesn't know better.
Well, he says, even if you're lucky enough to locate a bottle of Pappy, a catch-all term commonly used for two associated brands, Pappy Van Winkle and Old Rip Van Winkle.
Yes, because Pappy Van Winkle starts at the 15-year age statement.
And then he says,
Old Rip Van Winkle is 10, and it's Old Rip Van Winkle Lot B. and it's the old Rip Van Winkle rye. Then it goes into the older age statements that are Pappy 15, Pappy 21, and Pappy 23.
Correct. So he never distinguishes which one of these he's comparing these bottles, these 12 bourbon alternatives to. But I wanted to go through quickly
Yes.
because one of the
This is
bourbons
just-
that we've drank
please
tonight
go through it.
is on this list.
All right, go through this list.
So the first one here, Maker's Mark 101,
and he's comparing this to Pappy.
says that it embodies some of the spirits of Pappy.
Get out of here with that.
Disagree.
Nothing, nowhere close.
And then we killed some of these bottles over the weekend.
yeah, what do you
The next one, Michter's 10.
It's nowhere close to Pappy. It's nowhere close. I'll tell you my Pappy quick story once you're done.
Eagle Rare 17.
Nowhere. It's not even the same mash bill. Like you can't even compare that.
Here's actually one out of the BTAC collection, George T. Stagg.
I mean, I guess as
At
far as
least
like
it's
richness, yeah, it's like it's got that rich, sweet. Yeah, I could agree with that one. What else?
I'm going to skip this one because we're going to come back to it.
quickly.
E.H. Taylor Single Barrel.
E.H. Taylor. No.
Again, not even the same.
No, I mean,
Nashville.
maybe there's something to say with barrel proof, maybe.
Old Forester Birthday Bourbon.
So it sounds like he's comparing the sweetness to it, the older Pappies. Like I thought that like 21 was very like buttered popcorn, caramel buttered popcorn.
Yeah, caramel butter. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Which would explain this next pick, Larceny Barrel Proof.
No. That's nowhere close.
How
Not
about
the
this
20.
one?
I meant the 20, guys.
The
I meant 20.
Blanton Single Barrel.
Pappy 20. I take it all back. I'm a retard. Whoops, sorry.
How about the Old Fitzgerald 10-year?
This is just trolling me now. This is making me very angry. This guy doesn't know what he's talking
The
about.
Jefferson's Presidential Select.
So he's trying to compare sweet bottles to Pappy. Okay, that's the end of that
This is not a sweet bottle.
What is it?
The Weller Antique 107.
It's nowhere. Well, I mean, some people say you can make a lot B, where I think like a poor man's lot B, like a poor man's Pappy, if you mix like 107 and Weller 12, I think. Is that it?
I've heard of this mix.
Yeah.
I have heard of this. I don't know that I believe.
Yeah,
that.
it's 2 parts Weller 12 and 3 parts 107.
Okay.
So that gets you a.
Which Weller 12 is not very good and not very.
But even
sweet.
then, it's
Super
questionable.
oaky.
Yeah, even then, and people say it mimics something called Weller Centennial, which was something before Pappy was famous. Like
Okay.
it's very,
And then I skipped this one to come back to it because
yeah.
he also puts on this list, which I thought was very interesting and why I picked this article for tonight. Knob Creek 18.
Ignorant.
Since Knob Creek was launched in the early 90s, its expressions have gone on to collect numerous accolades.
It's nowhere close to Pappy.
He says it has the nutty profile that's
Nutty
commonly associated with beam whiskeys, but is
And
elevated by touches
Old
of
Rip
dark
10 has
chocolates,
zero nuttiness.
luxurious toffee, and toasted citrus zest. Now, I did get nuttiness in tonight's
Yes,
sampling.
but not in Old Rip 10 or even Pappy.
Agreed. I only so in what I've sampled, it's very sweet caramel popcorn.
In the
Okay?
20, in the Pappy 20, it's very
Very
buttered
sweet.
popcorn, in my opinion. Yeah.
And then when we talk about the elevation of dark chocolate, toffee, and citrus zest, not even close to tonight's tasting.
Yeah.
I don't get a single one of those flavor profiles at all.
Yeah.
Not even close. Then he says many whiskeys this old start to lose fruitiness, but this bourbon, the Knob 18, still presents plenty of dark fruit, candied cherry, and jammy fig. Did you get any dark cherry or jammy fig?
No.
Not even close.
Is that wrapping that up? Let's wrap this up. We got a lot going on here. We got
All right, that
All
wraps it up. So do you feel trolled?
a little bit. Really quick. Thomas says every grocery store in his area has Buffalo Trace in Michigan. It's everywhere now.
That's
Case
great.
in point. Enjoy it while you can. Pick it up. Buffalo Trace is great. I mean, we always have a stock of Buffalo Trace here. I think it's a great sweet pour, very comparable to Blanton's because it's approachable, it's sweet, it's easy drinking, bubblegummy. Some of the single barrels are amazing, very, very, very good. One last thing I wanted to end with: Beyonce, Rolling Stone, shilling Beyonce's Sir Davis whiskey,
Sir Davis, which I said was gonna be good.
Kind of ran into the ground.
No, I said it's gonna
My
be good.
aggression towards it on September 4th. Rolling Stone wrote, Beyonce was quoted with saying, "I've always been drawn to the power and confidence I feel when drinking quality whiskey, and I wanted to invite more people to experience that feeling.
Really?
I like my whiskey with a bite." I'm just going to leave it at that. So we will not be spending the $100 MSRP to buy a bottle of Sir Davis to try this.
I think I'll be reaching out to Queen Bee herself.
No, we're going to get it from somebody. We're going to get it from somebody.
Keep a straight face.
No single dollar, hard-earned dollar of mine to get us Sir Davis. We will get someone to give us a sample.
Tannic Panic, baby.
And maybe put our money where our mouth is. Right? We'll see.
I think it's going to be successful. I didn't say I thought it was going to be good, and I didn't say I was going to like it. I just said I thought it was going to be successful.
So I was thinking about some holiday shows really quick, just really, really quick. I want to put like a tier list together of like bottles we've done this year and like compare it to some of our favorites. Like, and we'll do like a meta.
Are we talking
like drag and drop? I'll put some screen animations up. We'll get some good stuff coming up here in the next couple of months. So we're done. That wraps up Knob Creek.
Boom.
We are going to put a bow on Knob Creek and probably never look back, to be honest.
I think that Bourbon Heritage Month is going to continue. We're going to bring on a couple of special guests towards the end of the month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, our
Very
friends, a friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
A friend of the show is going to bring on some natural wines.
Oh, I love natural wines. We're
very excited. So if you like wines, be looking out. We're going to be advertising a very fun natural wine show.
Yeah, since bourbon is on the decline, the bubbles popping. We need to start hitching our wagon into some up and comers.
Something new.
We'll learn something new, and we're going to teach you guys something new. Because hey, if we're getting priced out of bourbon, let's go find
some wine
decently priced. Because natural wine, I'm telling you, is cheap
and good.
Cheap and good is good. Cheap and good is good to me. As long as it's got
investments are
ABV
on the horizon.
So, night Bullish Brown and night Uncle P, and night to everybody that tuned in tonight. We appreciate all of you that join us here Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific time.
Don't forget to
please subscribe, hit the stupid bell. We love all that stuff. We need it for the algorithm. We appreciate
Share the show.
If you can, please do.
Thank you.
And then obviously start just watching other shows. Watch our old shows while you're at work and just let it play in the background.
Maybe we've covered something that you like. Maybe we've covered something you've never heard of. Try it all. Or
leave a comment if you want us to try something. If there's something that you feel that we haven't had, and as you can see behind us here, we have a pretty massive selection.
There was a show
if you
where
want
I
us
once
to
drank whiskey through my nose.
Yeah, if you want us to focus on something,
find it.
Or if you want us to go try some brand, or if you want us to go try a bottle that you've seen some hype around, I'm more than happy to go experiment and go grab something. So throw it in a comment, throw it in the chat here.
We're gonna drink that Rock Hill Farms.
Oh yeah, we'll do a little Rock Hill Farms here soon. And I want to do some Found North. I want to do some Canadian whiskey.
Oh yeah.
Oh I don't know.
Slightly burping into that microphone.
That's all right.
I think that's it.
That wraps us up, guys. So for the Barrel Buddies, I'm James.
And I'm BJ. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye, friends.